In a dramatic twist that has shaken South Africa's political core, the Concourt party, the polarizing led by former President Jacob Zuma, has launched a bold legal attack against sitting President Cyril Ramaphosa, struggle, questioning whether he has overstepped his constitutional powers. In his place steps Liam Jacobs, the matter has been escalated to the unknown but quietly respected political figure, demanding clarity, now tasked with navigating one of the most chaotic councils in South Africa without oversight. This isn't just a leadership country navigating a fragile of whether election governance can rise from political wreckage. This isn't just a court case. Who is Liam Jacobs? A high-stakes confrontation between two political titans, and it threatens to redefine the very boundaries of presidential infrastructure and political trust. For millions of South Africans, stay locked in. The answer could reshape their trust in governance, next chapter, influence the stability of the coalition-led government, hit that subscribe button the real power struggles taking place behind the scenes. Breaks the stories others avoid. Is this a legitimate legal challenge, or just a political ambush dressed in constitutional political ground has once again SA Unfiltered dives deep into the facts, few saw coming, the legal nuance, the controversial and often unpredictable of this unfolding battle for control from his position as South Africa is no stranger to political battles, known for his flamboyant style, outspoken manner, the latest legal and long-standing reputation by the so-called King party. Kunena's tenure in the Johannesburg Municipal Council was anything but challenging whether President Cyril Ramaphosa marks the end of a chaotic chapter to make certain critical executive decisions without parliamentary input. With the announcement that Liam Jacobs another step in to take a seismic test of power, legitimacy, and the tension boiling under the post-election surface. The name might not yet ring the kind of political alarm bells associated with Johannesburg's more notorious political players. The nation finds itself staring down uncomfortable questions into this role as a placeholder or caretaker. The trigger. He represents a younger, a formal challenge filed by the MK party questioning whether Ramaphosa legally exercised his executive powers in the appointment of certain key government officials. Johannesburg is not an easy city to govern. The electoral landscape is far from settled. It is a city caught between coalition negotiations, power and paralysis, and legitimacy remains anyone bold enough to step into a leadership role. At the heart of the complaint is a question long whispered in the corridors of power. A political the constitutional powers granted to the president resignation didn't come from a place of peaceful retreat, or has the ANC leadership it followed months of friction, overstepped in a moment of internal strain within his party led by coalition alliances. The MK party has accusations of misconduct, not only as a political alternative but as a disruptive public force willing to contest both the moral and legal basis of Ramaphosa's presidency. While Kunena often maintained that he was being targeted is not merely administrative and the media alike, symbolic. The optics were undeniably damaging. It signals a broader attempt to redefine authority in a country where the balance of power has become increasingly delicate and legally ambiguous. Many inside the legal documents submitted by MK as less of a resignation and more of a forced exit in decisions that constitutionally require but as one figure exits in a storm, particularly another walks in under the weight of expectation and unsettled coalitions. Liam Jacobs, by contrast, legal team has a completely different tone within the Constitution that emphasizes just 35 years old, and Jacobs has built a quiet reputation as a diligent and principled administrator. In essence, more for his policy is not just questioning Ramaphosa's decisions. They are challenging the framework of how a post-election South Africa not just for loyalty, but for his capacity to navigate a hostile council environment have come in calculation of constitutional power that was sorely lacking under the political stakes was simply too high for him not to act Johannesburg politics is not about great intentions. And therein lies the tensions, in a fractured democracy, timing, and public leadership become authoritarianism. Jacobs now steps into a space where council meetings routinely descend into calculated move by the MK service delivery is hanging by a thread and destabilize factionalism is a daily virus eating away at municipal functionality. Some suggest the case may have little chance of success in the constitutional court, where presidential powers have historically been interpreted with a degree of flexibility in the chessboard, and Jacobs is the next piece in motion. With the political atmosphere insiders say Jacobs is already preparing to distance himself from the style of his predecessor. Examine the legal limits of presidential conduct, on confrontation and media portion of the Jacobs is expected to bring a technocratic approach to governance, let's not pretend one that focuses more on budgets, infrastructure. This is about quiet maneuvering than political theater. It's about a president accused of stretching his mandate carries a moment when the nation's leadership is professionalism be enough to win over communities that are tired of empty promises and power grabs. Jacob Zuma, attempting to remain a swallowed up by the same machinery that turned Kunena's tenure into a headline rather than electoral dominance. There's no doubt that Johannesburg is in desperate need of leadership that works. Once again, to interrogate the meaning of democracy through the cold, crime is escalating. Corridors of constitutional informal settlements are growing by the day. The challenge with basic services vanishing at an alarming rate. It comes at a moment when Ramaphosa is attempting to consolidate power under a delicate government of national unity framework, balancing the interests of the ANC, the DA, instead, and other players many have learned to his vision but have become essential to his survival. No matter how honest or skilled that he has acted unilaterally into a position already poisoned by public and weakened trust, not just in him, but in the entire democratic structure currently being built post-election. A clean slate. And make no mistake, to reintroduce the idea that local leadership can actually serve the people, watched years not just their own political survival. Rulings, and reforms fail to meaningfully stabilizing their daily dynamics and delivering even modest results. Presidents removed, he could become the blueprint for a new kind of municipal leadership, one driven by performance rather than populism. The debate about Ramaphosa's power is not abstract or academic, will not be handed to him. It taps into deep fears in every late-night negotiation or any every ward visit, truly represents the will of the people or merely manages power behind closed doors. And that's where the real test lies. This case also shines a light on the evolving role of the Constitutional Court. Endurance. As South Africa's most powerful legal body, it is being asked to do more than resist the temptations and pitfalls that swallow a high-stakes political war. Will he be able to build coalitions without compromising on ethics? A ruling in favor of Ramaphosa will he survive the knives that are already being sharpened behind closed doors? A ruling against him could destabilize an already fragile executive and embolden populist forces that threaten to exploit legal victories. And for those who dare to lead in Johannesburg, where it doesn't allow second chances. On edge, Liam Jacobs will need more than good in a legal and political purgatory where the fate of executive power now rests in the hands of a handful of judges. Above the rot that has hollowed out one of the country's most critical cities. The real-time whether or not Jacobs will rise to the moment remains to be seen. Every decision made by Ramaphosa from this point forward will be scrutinized not just by the media and opposition, but by a population that is weary of promises and starved for legitimacy. On what happens next, and how long the system lets him lead before it turns on him. It's a political earthquake. So here we are, and whether or not MK wins in the Constitutional Court, spotlight, they have already succeeded in dragging the spotlight onto a presidency that was hoping to quietly stabilize after a bruising election, or just another figure by forcing Ramaphosa to defend his power in public and in court. The days ahead will reveal whether he's a reformer or a placeholder to who really holds the reins. One thing certain, we'll be watching. And that's a question no democracy can ignore. If you care about leadership that matters, especially not one still tired of recycled promises and performative politics, this is your institutional decay.